been a while and I'm here. Yay! So, I wanted to get on really quick and I'm making sure I'm live. Yes, I'm live. Great. So, how can you support your family and friends that homeschool and why it's important to support them? My name is Olivia Martin and I am a homeschool mama of 5 and we have been homeschooling since the beginning and my son's in 8th grade. Oh my goodness. Try doing 8th grade math. Crazy. Anyway, um, if you're on live with me, I'd love for you just to say hey, and if you're watching the replay, we comment replay. That'd be awesome. And give me some likes and share this too if you really maybe know people who homeschool and can use this. So I wanted to talk tonight about how to support your family and friends who homeschool because making that decision to homeschool was not an easy decision. Lots of prayer, thoughts, and worry went into it. Many nights of worrying about whether you are doing the right thing or, praying that you're not gonna ruin everything and all this kind of stuff. So it is one of those decisions that people who homeschool did not take lightly. There was lots of thought, lots of prayer, lots of decisions that went into this. Okay, so how can you, as a family member or a friend, support the homeschooling people around you? For one, number one, big number one, don't let them know that you think it was a mistake. Because trust me, they probably already think that too. But even if you do think it's a mistake for people to homeschool, you don't have to share it with them. You can think it, you don't have to share it. They already struggle with that, guys. I'm not even kidding you. And they do not need someone that they love and that they respect to come out and tell them they made a bad decision or it's a mistake. In these kind of circumstances, there's times where I tell my kids, you can have these thoughts, but you don't have to share these thoughts. You keep them to yourself. And I feel like that's one of those moments where you just need to keep it to yourself because trust me, they already know it. And it's not a mistake. It really isn't a mistake, even though a lot of people don't understand homeschooling. Homeschooling is becoming really big, by the way. But a lot of people just don't understand what goes into homeschooling. So in their mind, they think, oh, this is a mistake. You should never do this. But it's really not. And if you don't know anything about homeschooling, message me and I'd love to talk to you. We can have a conversation about it. Number two, are you willing to actually help them? And the answer is yes. Most homeschooling families would love for you just to say, hey, why don't you and I go to the museum, take the kids to the museum together. Having another adult at a museum when you have kids is awesome, let me just say, especially when you have 5 and mine are older a little bit now, but when they were younger, it would have been great when it was great when people came with me because it wasn't so stressful and it was more fun and all that jazz. Another thing you can do is offer to teach a subject. Maybe you're retired and you can teach art or whatever. Or you can say, hey, let me do a craft day once a month with the kids or anything like that is great too. You could even offer to clean their house for them once a month. Just saying. Or even make a meal for them once a week. And I know there are times where people just don't have the time to do that. So even just saying a little prayer for them and sending them a text or a card, just letting them know you're thinking about them and praying for them, that's something you can do too. Or you could even ask the mom to go take the mom out to dinner because she would love to have a dinner, just a restful, peaceful, quiet dinner with somebody. Any mom would love that, but not just homeschool moms, but any mom would love that, wouldn't they? So just be willing to maybe make a sacrifice in your own time to help them if you want. If you feel like you could do that, I'm not saying you have to or anything like that, but if you really feel like you could do that, that would be really great. I'm getting phone calls on my phone all of a sudden. So another thing, just a little side note is, when you homeschool, you're around your kids all the time. And it's amazing most of the time. It's not always fun. There are times where moms just literally want to throw in the towel and say, I quit, I'm done, I'm over it, I've had people say you should put your kids in school then. Or I've heard people say that. And it's like, wait a minute, step back. I want to ask you guys a question. Have you guys ever gone to work and had a really bad day and wanted to quit then and there? And you leave and go home and sleep on it and you go back to that same job the next day because it really in the end, you're moving on and it's okay. That's kind of how it is too with homeschool moms. There's days where they're just like, I quit, I'm done. But then they go to sleep and they realize the reasons they're doing it. They wake up the next morning refreshed and they're ready to go. Okay, so don't ever tell a homeschool mom when they're complaining that they should just send their kids to school, because it's not always, that's not the answer. All right, that's not the answer all the time. So that's just one thing not to say to a homeschool family. Um, Let me look here. Blah, 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 blah. You know, homeschooling is a homeschool mom. It's not a 9 to 5 job. It's all the time with no sick time, as I was sick this past week. Um, I was thankfully my kids are older and can take care of themselves a little bit better. When they were younger and I was sick, you just dealt with it. You had to deal with it. There's no real breaks. There's no vacations alone normally. So these are things that we chose and we know we chose that and we're grateful and thankful, but it's not always easy. It doesn't mean we don't have our bad days too. And then so number 3, if you ever feel like a kid is behind in school when with a homeschooling family, keep it to yourself. I'm trying to be loving and kind in this, but just seriously though, listen, a lot of homeschool families do not go by the standard of public schools, okay? Which that's what we're all used to, and that's okay. But we realize that kids learn at different times, so we teach things at different times. We might teach a part of history in a different grade than the public school does, and that's okay. I've learned that kids learn at different levels. A 5-year-old might learn to read, but then the next kid comes along and they don't learn to read till 9. And that's both okay, because in the end, what? They're reading, right? So we learn that kids just grow differently, and that as homeschoolers, one of my goals, and I'm not always great at it, and there's a lot of work I want to put into this, but that learning is an atmosphere. Charlotte Mason is a homeschool person, a lady from back a long time ago, and she had this. She loved teaching, and she believed that everyone, even girls, should be able to learn, right? So she said learning is an atmosphere. It's all around you, and that's what I desire for my kids to know, is that learning doesn't just happen inside the walls of a schoolhouse or a school building, or even in our house. Learning is everywhere. We always should be learning. If you're not learning daily, then go check it, because you need to be learning. Everyone should be learning all the time. So back to not telling the mom if you feel like the kids are behind. Only really encourage them, and don't judge. Just don't judge too quickly, because you don't know the circumstances. But if you really feel like you have to say something, if it's your like close family and you're like, man, I gotta say something, I have to, then make sure when you say it, the mom is not around the kids and she has a cup of coffee in her hands. Okay, slightly joking about the cup of coffee, but honestly, the kids don't need to hear that conversation. So just try not to do it around the kids, and do it in a loving way. Most homeschool family moms will be willing to listen and hear you out and take it in and be like, maybe there's some truth to that. Maybe I need to pick up the pace on this one, or this is where we're at and it's working, and every day they learn. That's what's most important, is every day they're learning. So we're good. It's just that. So if you feel like you have to say something, don't do it around the kids. So there are my 3 tips to help support homeschool family and friends around you. If you got anything out of this content, I would love for you to comment below and let me know what it is. And also, if you are a homeschooling family, then you have other ways that people can support you. I'd love for you to comment below with those too, because there's so many different ways to support the homeschool families. We should all be supporting each other, right? No matter what. Because just remember, when it comes to educating our kids, as long as we are actually educating our kids, there is no wrong way to do it. Public, private, homeschool, they can learn, and they can learn well in any situation, as long as us parents are intentional about it. You can't just leave it to the teachers, okay? If you're in public, private, it's not just the teacher's job to teach. It's your job too. It's our jobs too, okay? Well, that is all I have for you tonight. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you soon. Bye.